Okay, you're welcome back. Our guest is Senator Babajide Omoworare, Senior Special Assistant in the last administration, that of President Muhammadu Buhari, on National Assembly matters. He also was the former Majority Leader, Lagos State House of Assembly. And, well, before I continue, Mr. George has called in when we're on break. Good morning to you, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Harry, and good morning to your guest, the Senator.
Good morning.
The way I see things happening, the 10th National Assembly will not be able to fault any bill from this president, because he himself, the president himself, is an intellectual, a former lawmaker, surrounded by experts in lawmaking. So the bill that is likely to come from the president, I don't see National Assembly being able to fault it. What I expect National Assembly to do in terms of, we are talking about synergy now. What I expect the National Assembly to help the presidency to do in terms of synergy is to checkmate waste and corruption at MDAs through the oversight functions. But from what we know, it is always not easy for the National Assembly members to do because of compromise. I stand to be corrected. The Senator guest, he has been in it. He knows what I'm talking about. The oversight thing, once it is compromised, the standard is lowered, and it is we, the people, that will suffer the effects. If the 10th National Assembly wants to prove me wrong, we want to see how they can help the president to oversight the functions of MDA. You will see the amount of savings we will do. It will be like the savings that we are getting from the fuel subsidy removal now. In America, for example, that we are copying their system, the president of the U.S. recently took a bill to the U.S. Congress. He called it infrastructural bill, trillions of dollars. The House vetted that bill to the letter. All the places, all the projects he wants to do, they vetted it to the letter. And there is periodic reporting to the House in the execution of the projects. We want to see something like that with our National Assembly members. That's what I want. We are seeing what the president is doing now. It's a complete departure of what has been before. Let the National Assembly members also take a cue. I will be, by His grace, in a few months' time or a year from now, we will be seeing whether what they are going to be doing will be different from what has been. We want a change for the better.
Okay.
To help the president to fix this country.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. Senator, I think we're going back. You've explained the whole matter of synergy, explained the whole matter about it's one government at the end of the day. But that viewer is bringing up the matter of a robust engagement between the two, which isn't necessarily hostility, but a robust engagement. Is that something that you think we can take for granted?
Let me just make 2 quick points. I agree with him. Let me start by saying that I agree with him with respect to the issue of oversight. And I agree with him with respect to the issue of the parliament doing the necessary things, looking at issues.
Okay,
entirely with him to that extent. Let me first of all start with that perspective. A major source of discord between the legislature and the executive, understandably so, is the issue of appropriation, the issue of budgeting. The legislature is expected to do its work The legislature is not expected hook, line, and sinker to agree with the executive. So, but the executive at the same time expects the legislature not to just cut some heads, not to just say Lagos Ibadan Express Road, using that as an example. Instead of spending 10 billion, we want you to spend 5 billion. You must come up with bill of quantity or BEME, as the case may be, to explain that, oh, your cost of cement, your cost of iron rod, your cost of laterite and stuff is too expensive. That's not the going rate. And we don't expect that to be the going rate in the next 1 year. So that is what we expect the legislature to do from the executive perspective. But the legislature has a right to look into it.
Mm-hmm.
But in looking into it, like it is a major source of discord, whether proper work has been done before these cuts are done, before you move a figure from one head to the other, whether proper work has been done by the, and you must go, you cannot do it by sitting in your office.
Okay,
all the time.
I beg your
it
pardon.
Goes out.
Sorry, Senator. I beg your pardon. Your audio was dropping out from time to time. It's going to settle, but let me use that opportunity to bring in another caller, this time from Abuja. Mr. GBENGA, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Uncle Yori. Good morning to you, the Senator.
Good morning, sir.
In every democracy, there will be synergy between the executive and the legislature, because they are part of the government. In the USA, for example, where we borrow our democracy, by default, the Senate president is the vice president. By now, can we say that, oh, it's a rubber stamp because the vice president and the Senate president, so the senators or the Senate, the assembly there is a rubber stamp? No. Because the party have manifesto. The president has his own agenda and program. And in the executive, the period of 4 years, it will need people, both in opposition and in his party, to work with him to achieve that, for the benefit of Nigeria and even for the legislators themselves. So, and if such a program is being put forward as a bill, I wouldn't expect the Senate or the Assembly to kind of throw it out because they want to show that they are independent. No, that is not being independent. I just think, sir.
Yes, I do.
Being independent is that you have your boundary, you have your own something, but you have to work together to achieve that goal. And people are calling the last assembly a rubber stamp. I don't think a rubber stamp because if you look at it, when the president was asking them to approve Loretta as the INEC commissioner, it was rejected. So these are things we can give that they were not rubber stamp. And people will say, okay, because they always approve the loan that president asked for. And I ask them, this loan, were they not in the preparation in the act? They were there in the act. And when the budget is approved and become an act, the president has to work on it. It's not a law. That what we should do, if we don't want us to approve a law, is that we should share that should not be any budget deficit. Because when there is deficit, they have to borrow money to implement that budget. And you now say, okay, they are rubber stamp because they approved that loan. I think we are not being fair to all this assembly. We are not being fair to them. We should ask them not to pass a budget that has deficit. We don't agree.
All right, then. Well, thank you very much, GBENGA, for calling in from Abuja. Before you go, Senator, into, maybe your comment on Mr. GBENGA's provision, I want to bring you back to what you said just before that call came in, and you were talking about the work that legislators also need to do. They just don't just get up and speak. They're supposed to have offices. I think I remember that provision is made for them to have offices, research facilities. Since you were in there, is this indeed the practice? Do legislators actually maintain offices and research people so that they can check things out? Because I don't imagine they want to take the figures and the workings of the executive hook, line, and sinker, they ought to be able to verify by themselves, independently, what the facts are about a matter. Since you were quite clear on the matter that no, it's a lot of hard work. People don't just get up and say they want to do because I want to be different, so I'm not going to agree. No, it doesn't work like that. But it is a big challenge because it's not just a number of parties in the assembly, it might be the state assembly, it might be national assembly. It's not just different parties, also different people and temperaments. In the same way as lawyers talk about certain judges having certain temperaments. And if you have a certain case before a certain lawyer, oh, that lawyer, that judge, for instance, is very, very strict when it comes to, victimization of minors, for instance. So, that there's this whole mix, and it can be quite challenging. Take, for instance, the issue of the death penalty. So I just want to put that next to the example you gave earlier, that, look, what if a person has to have a youth corps certificate? And that's clear. If it's there, it's there. If it's not there, it's not there. But it's not the same as, for instance, moral issues, for example. So how does you can see it's a very, very challenging job that the legislators have, as challenging as that of the president, perhaps, in a different sort of way.
Yes. Your first question, do legislators have enough presence on ground? Yes, they do.
Offices and research facilities.
To the best of my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
To the best of my knowledge, I had, let me explain, let me break it down. You must have constituency office, first and foremost. That is speaking as an individual senator or member of House of Reps, or even a member of a state House of Assembly. When I was in Lagos House of Assembly, on Yaya Abaton in Ogba in Lagos, I had my constituency office, and I did my constituency surgeries every Friday. The 7th and 8th Senate, I had 2 offices. I had one in Ife in More, and I had one in Ilesha. Do you understand? So it now depends on who is populating those offices. Are people just going there to play Ludo, to play draft, or to play table tennis and stuff? Or do you have serious-minded people? And let me even say this. The National Assembly even goes around the country to ensure that this is done. The National Assembly as an institution goes around all over the constituencies and the senatorial districts to ensure that you have constituency offices. That is one. But so do you have a researcher working with you? In United States, where like the 2 last scholars have said, we took the presidential system of government from, you have experts, PhD holders, researchers, public policy analysts, and sector relevant analysts working directly with senators. And they get paid a lot of money. It's expensive, but they get to do a very good job. Now, that is from individual perspective. As a committee in the Senate, if you are asked to oversight and you are in the power sector and Shiroro Dam has just been done or some power thing has been done somewhere or some road has been done, if you don't have the in-house experts, you must take a consultant. You must take a consultant. People must go and say that the Minister of Works has loaded the budget. This is not up to 10 billion. It is just 5 billion. It's very realistic. It's very pragmatic. It's not just in the air. It's palpable. So
exactly. So what you're saying is that indeed these legislators, speaking from experience, do have expert inputs into their considerations of issues, for example. They do have that.
They do.
Okay.
Or they are supposed to.
As they are supposed to.
They do, or they are supposed to. Choosing my words advice.
They do, or they are supposed to. Exactly. I hear you, sir.
To have experts working with them. So if you don't engage an expert, then it's not my call, it's your call.
Okay.
If you don't engage an expert to advise you, then you will now go to the floor of the Senate, and you will not be, or the floor of House of Reps, and your report will be watery. Do you understand? Your report,
you won't be at your best. Exactly. Okay.
You won't.
I beg your pardon, Senator, for interrupting you. Mazi OKOROAFOR from AROCHUKWU has been holding on for a while. Good morning to you, Mazi.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Senator Bajide. What we need now is that the executive and legislature. I think there is need for our legislature to try as much as possible. Like the distinguished senator is just saying, all the constituencies where they have their place, at least all the local government they cover, at least they should have a legislative office. So that when people come and drop their demand and the rest, they come back sometimes and gather those things and start and go back to the National Assembly and present it. Because what Nigerians are after now is what we call dividends of the. We have seen what is happening now with the subsidy and all the politics they're talking. If the honorable members, the distinguished senators, will try as much as possible and deliver, I bet you Nigeria will not complain. But the situation whereby distinguished senators and honorable members, they will come. After the election, you will not hear from them. You will not come back to their constituency to find out how are people faring. It's not healthy. Even some of them will even change their phone number. Even some will just put some big dogs inside the company. By the time you reach the gate, when you hear the sound of the dog, you are shocked. You just run high blood pressure because, which is not healthy. There should be at least each month. They then create for the way that each local government they will go there and have a sort of town hall meeting. It will help us because this town hall meeting is very, very important because people are after what dividends of democracy. Honestly speaking, Senator, please help me tell others too that people are just ready because if you didn't do well, come back to 2002, it will not be rosy. So that is why there's need for them to do what? To do the needful for the masses now or never.
Oh.
And you have seen about their children out of school, the primary school children, 45 million out of school. What do we do? About their own constituency. Good morning. Mazi OKOROAFOR from AROCHUKWU.
Thank you, Mazi OKOROAFOR from AROCHUKWU. He brings up a point that, of course, you might want to say something, but he brings up a point. People know their representatives, or should know their senator, or should know their councillors. And so these are the people that they relate with. And oftentimes, you people, you senators, you representatives, you are representing people that actually elected you. And so they have a certain preference list, desire list, attitudinal disposition. Oftentimes the complaint is that once we enable them and they go to their station, House of Assembly, Senate, or representatives, it's almost like they forget about them and concentrate now on relations between their house, whatever it is, and the presidency. What's the kind of fine balance that has to be maintained where people are waiting for you to come back home and meet them, and how you didn't speak up for them, you didn't represent them as they wanted you to represent them? How difficult a job is that for legislators?
It's a very difficult job, and I'll let you know, for those who have been in the parliament, at whatever level, even at the level of the ward, even as a councillor, let me just break it down a little bit. Your responsibility is to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You must relate with the executive. You have a party on whose platform you run, and the party has its manifesto, and the party is telling you, push the manifesto of the party. And you are representing a constituency or a senatorial district, as the case may be, and you have also made promises, which for some people is wrong to make promises when you don't even know what your ability or capability will be when you get to Abuja or when you get to your state capital. Now, having said that again, you have to, is a mixed match, is a potpourri. You have to blend a fine matrix between playing your role as a lawmaker in Abuja, for instance, and also playing your role as a representative of the people. If you don't return home, after 2-3 years, you hear the result when election comes. That's the truth of the matter. You have to return home. You have to have a constituency office. You have to have a relationship with the people. You have to blend with the people. Let me say theoretically, there are 4 types of representatives. You have the trusteeship, you have the delegates, you have the partisan, then you have the mirror. The best is always the mirror, which is a mixed blend of the first 3 I've spoken about. Partisanship is very simple. You are going to the parliament because the party has voted for you and the agenda you are pushing is just your party's agenda. You can put your party's agenda, but you shouldn't put your party's agenda to the peril of the people that voted for you. Trusteeship, as a trustee of the people, you can just say, oh, you've given me your mandate, so let me just go to Abuja and I don't have to revert. Let me just, no, I know what your problems are. No, that's also not good. Then, as a delegate, you are representing them, but at the same time, you must reserve the opportunity to advise them based on your own encounter in Abuja, for instance. If you have a federal constituency that has two local governments, for instance, and your people are pushing for you to go and create a state for them, go to Abuja. What we want you to do, our son, is go and get a state for us. And you come to Abuja and you are pushing to have a state without looking in a very, very, very fine manner at Section 8 of the Constitution, Section 8, subsection 3 in this particular instance. You look at subsection 1 in this particular instance, creation of local government 1 and 2. If you look at it, you discover that you need to work with others. So you have to advise your people that, yes, you want me to go and push for state creation for you, but it's going to be difficult for these reasons. In fact, since 1999, we've not created any.
I think I understand that. I beg your pardon, Senator. I'm so sorry, Senator. I beg your pardon. Thank you very much, because I do understand. I'm extrapolating from what you've said, and this is because of time. So sorry to interrupt you. But I wanted to squeeze in Chidi, who is in Kafanchan, who is our last caller for the day. Good morning, Chidi.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to the distinguished senator in the House.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
I have always advocated the importance of synergy between the executive arm of government and the executive arm of government, nay, other arms of government. There is the need for them here to work together with one mind. Once somebody is sponsored by a political party and gets into the National Assembly, automatically, it's not as if he is going to leave his political party that sponsored him. But what he should do and understand is that the legislature has become a body. Whatsoever they agreed upon, which is for the interest of the people as far as governance is concerned, whenever the president vetoes or whenever the president signs such a bill into law, it becomes what should be done, in as much as it has a human face and is in line with the democratic practice worldwide.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Chidi, calling in from Kafanchan there. Senator, that was our last caller. We've almost run out of time, but I imagine that you'll be endorsing just almost everything he said.
I do. I agree with him to a large extent.
Okay, to the large. So you are quite optimistic that the quest for legislative, executive synergy is well on course, looking at the antecedent, right? You're optimistic that this shouldn't be too much of an issue, especially as we have a president whose democratic credentials are impeccable.
Yes, his democratic credentials are impeccable as a civil libertarian and also as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The vice president is also a senator. The chief of staff, 2 decades experience in the National Assembly, former minority leader, former majority leader, former speaker. Then you also have the deputy chief of staff who works directly with the vice president, who also happens to be a senator. The secretary to the government of the Federation is also a senator. So I don't see any reason why we should not have a flawless relationship. There must be a lot of synergy between the executive and the legislature in this dispensation, all with a view to delivering public goods and to deliver good governance. And the legislature must do a lot more oversight.
All right, then. We're going to have to leave it there, Senator. I beg your pardon, Senator. Yes. You really must pardon me. It's the exigencies of the job and time. But thank you very much, sir, for making it time for us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on your program.
Our pleasure. So that's Senator Babajide Omoworare, former senior special assistant to President Muhammadu Buhari when he was president on National Assembly matters. He's also a former majority leader in the Lagos State House of Assembly. That's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition I am Yori Folare. Bye-bye for now.